Doc was right. The Piston Cup is nothing but an empty trophy. See, the reward isn't really about none of the material things, about the trophies or the medals or the prizes. The reward comes in the racing. The reward comes in the thrills of rushing through the winds and the aerodynamics on the tracks and in front of the crowds. That's what it's about. That is the only thing that should be continuing here. How's it going, YouTube and Instagram? Welcome to the next episode on Sterling on Cinemas. That's Cinemas with an S. And today is the next episode on the Pixar animation playlist. And today is my review on Cars 3. Before I begin, if you are new to this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You know the agenda. Leave a comment on the section below. Click the bell to keep up with everything Sterling on Cinemas going forward. And most importantly, watch from beginning to end. And the same thing goes if you're on Instagram watching this on IGTV. Follow me, like it, share it on your story with your friends and family, to your closest. I am on the brink of 100 subs. Help me to get there, y'all. I am almost there. And now is the time to hustle and tell folks. Tell people, spread the word, spread the news, spread the reviews. And let's get to it. Now, blindsided by a new generation of blazing fast cars, the legendary Lighting McQueen finds himself pushed out of the sport that he most dearly loves. Hoping to get back in the game, he turns to Cruz Ramirez, an eager young technician who has her own plans for winning, by the way. With inspiration from the Fabulous Hudson Hornet and a few unexpected turns, number 95 prepares to compete on Piston Cup Racing's biggest stage ever. Now, here's my take on the story. It might be the third entry in the Cars franchise, but this feels more like what the sequel to the first Cars should have been. As a third, it does not really show any type of continuity from Cars 2. Like, we don't really get any mentions. I didn't really expect this. I never expected this on first view. Like, we didn't really see Finn McMissile or Holly Shiftwell. We didn't even get a mention of them. They could have at least mentioned them so that they can tell us that it does take place after Cars 2 and that there is some continuity there. Although it does expand on some of the same aspects from the first Cars like Rusty's and Dynaco, Cars 3 is even set up similarly to Cars 1 with a few road changes here and there. We see how Lightning McQueen is in some of the same dilemmas that we saw him in earlier in his story arc, with having to compete against a skilled racer, albeit a high-tech, more contemporary race car. The most interesting thing and thrilling thing about Cars 3 on the first watching of it is the mystery of whether Lightning McQueen will continue to race. And this is where the story starts to root back to the tragedy of Doc Hudson. If you remember the memory that caused him to get a change of mind, because Doc Hudson told him everything in the first Cars, what makes an athlete. Like, are you humble? Are you selfless? Do you care about other people more than yourself? And that helped him to learn, and that helped him to grow and become self-actualized, and that is what helped him make a different decision in the first race, in the first movie. And now, with being in a parallel situation that his former mentor and the sole racer that he looked up to, that he idolized, now he's in the same situation here. And this is something that we would have never known would repeat itself. However, we all know lightning strikes twice, right? And the story would see him changing some things up. It feels like a self-contained sequel that expands upon the first one by going back to basics. This is the only thing that gives the story more drama and adds more value to the first one, which is one of the best Pixar movies. A lot of first entries in these Pixar franchises are the best in their own type. Now, I don't really want to go further in this review without referencing one YouTube channel. I mean, if you watch movie-related content, like if that's the type of content you watch on YouTube, you'll know who I mentioned, but you know who I'm talking about. I haven't seen his videos in a minute, but his name is Couch Tomato. And what he does is that he makes, for those who don't know, what he does is that he makes these 24 reasons why so-and-so is better than this, or why 24 reasons why so-and-so is exactly like. But in his case, he made one video talking about comparing Cars 3 and Rocky 3. Now, I'm not throwing him under the bus by comparing different movies. I mean, it's fun to compare nowadays, but no two movies are exactly the same. Sure, both of those movies see the protagonist training on a beach, seeing them lose to an upcoming champion, Clubber Lang, Jackson Storm, and now they have to get their fire back. Get their fire back by being trained by a former trainer, by the trainer of another champion. So sure, there are some similarities here and there. So I just wanted to point him out because that was a nice little thing. That was a nice little video he made. But if you haven't seen his content, you can check his stuff out. It's pretty cool and it's pretty hilarious. Now at this point, every Pixar sequel, almost every Pixar sequel, with Toy Story 2 being an exception, centers on has the side character taking the lead and making them the protagonist. And this is evident with Monsters University, making Mike Wazowski the lead, Finding Dory, making Dory the lead, Cars 2, making Tomato the lead, and The Eminent Incredibles 2, which is in 2 weeks, yo. But if this was the sequel, if the sequel was like Cars 3 instead of the spy-inspired follow-up that we got in 2011, like I said, it wasn't a bad movie. It just didn't stick. It just wasn't. It was probably the least equal or the least it didn't stick as true to the essence of the Cars franchise. It didn't stick true to the style of the Cars franchise, the original idea. But if that was the case, this will be an exception as well. The characterization in Cars 3 feels accurate to the way that fame is portrayed in these types of franchises, centering on the champion, which we either meet as an underdog who is destined or aspires to become a champion, or we meet a champion who is rough around the edges and needs a little bit of polishing there in those rough edges. At this point in the series, we are reminded that Lighting McQueen cannot be doing this forever. He cannot race forever. Jackson Storm, we see this become apparent with a new race car named Jackson Storm, who surpasses him on every level with speed, maneuverability, and aerodynamics. This causes Lightning to break down and crash, leaving him in the shadows for 4 months. I mean, after all, the word lightning does come before storm in the phrase lightning storm, right? The only way for this character to evolve is by going back to the beginning. Seeing most of the characters affiliated with the Rusty's company return also adds to the aesthetic as the sequel, because most of those characters that you saw from the first movie, like Rusty's, the one like, don't drive like my brother, yeah, you better not drive like my brother, they did not come in the second one. They came in this one. Now, enter Cruz Ramirez, who came in yellow. I really love her character in this movie as somebody who wants to be more than what she already is, which is a trainer. Cruz sports the determination, the passion, and the taste to race in the big leagues, but has let her lack of dreaming big hold her back. This is impressive and ironic because it is the equal but opposite of Lightning McQueen. See, Lightning McQueen was an athlete who was already good at what he did, which was racing. He was stylish and fancy and cool while he was doing it. But he just needed to change things up. He needed to be strategic. He needed to show some type of sportsmanship and not view himself at the center of all these races. Cruz may aspire to be a racer also, but she is somebody who feels born to take up the wheels passed on by Lightning McQueen. Sure, the Radiator Springs cars were not in the movie, not that much as you would expect, but this story is truly led and taken charge by Lightning McQueen so that he can create a spark inside of an inspiring rookie race car. Rotten Tomatoes gives Cars 3 a 69% score, which is according to Rotten Tomatoes is their second least favorite Pixar film, right above Cars 2, which is the only Pixar movie to get a Rotten score so far. Other than that, everything else is pretty good. Now, it feels more fitting to call Cars 3 a true sequel to Cars, with the film staying grounded with the core elements that made the first one so stylish, like so good, while at the same time exploring the history of what makes cars like Lightning McQueen and Doc Hudson different types of racers and so unique. So I'll give this movie 8.1 SOs out of 10. That is my review on Cars 3. Y'all can let me know what y'all think of this as a Pixar film, and which one of do you like this one better or one of the other ones in the franchise in the Cars series? Y'all can let me know in the comments, and I'll see y'all tomorrow with Way Back Wednesday. Night.